Bokamper in the right place at the right time.
Joe Rose, touchdown Miami!
All right, welcome back to Out to Pasture. Joe, you know, I don't know about you, but I don't read a whole lot of books. How about you?
No.
I don't see on the
all sports stuff. No, it's mostly sports and it's magazines.
Sports pages, newspapers, magazines, all those kinds of things.
That's it.
But you know, we got to be diversified. So we're going to get one of the great authors in our country, maybe in the world.
Creative.
At one time, he was in 500 different publications, newspapers across the country. Yeah. Pulitzer Prize winning guy. He's funny. He's smart,
creative.
Much smarter than us. So we're going way overhead, and we're trying to diversify here on Out to Pasture.
Well, he's a good one.
He's a good one. So let's bring in the great Dave Barry, who we've been looking to get for a long time, and I'm happy we've got him here now today. Hey, Dave, thanks for joining us, man. Joe, I know we're big fans of yours for a long time, and I know
Thank you.
It's hard for me to believe, but you had him over at your house?
I was hungry one night, and Michelle, his wife, Michelle Kaufman, said, come over and eat, and Dave happened to be there.
Yeah. Or you just happened to be there. That's
I just want to say that one of the rules I live by, as do most men in South Florida, is you never let Joe come over to your house.
You have been around me.
There's always a stench after he leaves, and it's hard to get out and get it out of there, right?
No question, it's bad. Hey, so Dave, I got to ask you, man. You've done about everything possible when it comes to creative writing. What's been your favorite through the years? What have you enjoyed the most out of all the different projects you've had?
I think I got to say, one of the things that I really love doing is like live events. And over the years, because Michelle Kaufman, my wife's a sports writer, I ended up going to a bunch of Olympics, World Cups, and that kind of thing where you go and you write every day, and it's kind of exciting and it's all around. I really love that stuff. Likewise, even like weirdly enough, political stuff. Like it's been a while, but I used to go to Iowa and for the caucuses, New Hampshire for the primaries, and then I would go to the political conventions. Like, so I don't know if anything intelligent has ever happened in this country politically, but funny. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You want humor. It just falls out of the tree when you go to the, any big political event. So that's always been live events have always been kind of fun for me.
So we always talk, we talk about aging in this, but we're going to talk about a lot of other things. But so travel is always an issue as you get older and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if you began with a pen and pencil or if you had the typewriter and then all the way to the computer. How has just writing become different just by the sake of doing it?
First of all, I am very old. I am older than either of you. I'm 76 years old. Which is, it sounds old, but it's like the new 74, 76. Yeah. But anyway, so I started in a newspaper in the early 70s, and it was typewriters. And when you sat down to write a story, it was like this room full of people. It was very, very loud. And there were, if you want to, and everybody was smoking a cigarette and drinking coffee. I mean, I started smoking cigarettes because I thought that was how you became a journalist. Right. I fortunately quit a long time ago. And are we allowed? What language are we allowed to use on this show, gentlemen?
Anything you want. Let it rip, Dave.
You say whatever the fuck you want.
Every approximately 3 minutes, if you worked in a newsroom back then, somebody would yell, "Fuck!" And it could be for any number of reasons, but nobody would even look up. I mean, like today, can you imagine if you were to do that in any office in America, like you would be arrested and taken before the politically correct police. But back then that was normal. So anyway, that was it. Typewriter, piece of paper, paper with carbon paper, type. And then when the computers came in, everybody thought, whoa, like, how do we do this? And like the old guys didn't want to do it. Like Edwin Pope, the great Edwin Pope.
Yeah.
I used to go to, I went to a Super Bowl that both of you gentlemen were at in 1984. And I'll never forget, I get there and I had to get my press credential from Ed Pope. And he opens the door. We're in San Francisco. He opens the door to his hotel room and he goes, God damn this thing. You know how to see? And we had these little Radio Shack things. And, how the hell does this goddamn thing got? And that was Edwin. And that was like a whole generation of sports writers. I was able, because they were still relatively young then, I was able to gradually adapt to the whole computer thing. But it's really changed. Now, I love computers. That's what I write on and have for many, many years. And I also, what I love partly about it is when you have a computer, you have access to the internet. Means at any moment, instead of writing something useful, you could be looking at something completely unrelated to what you're supposed to be doing, which is what many writers, including me, spend most of our day doing. Don't tell anybody.
Well, now with these computers, they just go on. When you started, you had to wait for the ticker to be kicking out the information, right? I don't think anybody in this generation even knows what a ticker is.
Oh, God.
No, we don't. They don't. You guys, okay? You're kind of close to my generation.
Well, I'm almost 70, so I'm in the neighborhood.
You're getting there. So, have you know, when people our age, just try to do a simple thing on the phone around a young person. Like my daughter's in her 20s, and if I start to do anything, she gets this look like, I can't watch this. Just give it to me, Dad, and then she knows whatever.
Yeah.
And or I'll be at when you go to a book signing, you sign books, and a lot of times people want to take your picture, which is very sweet, it's very nice, but there's this distinct change depending on the age of the person taking the picture. Like young people, they come up and they go and they take the picture, and people my age, they come up and go, wait, can I get a picture? They go, okay, smile, okay, smile, okay. Oh, wait, no, wait a minute. It's on Google. Wait a minute. Okay, smile. Okay, wait. Oh, wait. It's taking a picture of me. And then they hand it to some 14-year-old who goes and takes the picture. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to we're not supposed to admit that it's true, but it is true. We're terrible with technology compared to younger people.
Yeah, no doubt.
Dave, you just hit something that I think we've all dealt with, having two daughters in their 20s right now, too. Nothing I do is cool. Like anything I say or anything, or go to put something on social media, they go, oh, shit, don't put that. It's so stupid. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Are you getting that still, too, as cool as you are?
All the time. I've never been cool to my kids. But I just say you have to go with it. Your job as a parent is to embarrass your children. And I have the ultimate story of that. This happened when my son Rob, my son's now in his 40s, but back in the 90s, I got a call at the Miami Herald from the Oscar Mayer Corporation, and they were bringing the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile to Miami. This is my son. My son was in middle school at the time, and there's nothing more embarrassing to a child in middle school than a parent. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, you're embarrassed. So the Oscar Mayer people call me. And I had a nationally syndicated column at the time, and they said, we're bringing the Wienermobile to Miami. Would you like to drive it for a day? And I said, of course. I wanted, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to pick my son up at middle school.
Oh, my God.
and so this is a legend in my family. Rob comes out of the middle school, and there's all these moms in their minivans, and then looming up is this big hot dog with a loudspeaker going, Rob Berry, please report to the Wienermobile. And I'll tell you, if a 12-year-old boy could suffer a heart attack, he would have, But so anyway, but the point is, that was great. That was the best. It scarred him for life, but it was really fun for me. And that's the point, Joe. That's the point. You should go with it. Don't worry about embarrassing them.
Did you at least give him one of those little whistles that looked like the Wienermobile?
Yes, I got the whistles. I had everything. You know what else I did? I had the Wienermobile for a whole day. Now they don't let you do this anymore. But I literally, they were with me, but they let me drive it wherever I wanted. Yeah. So one of the things I decided to do, I'd been thinking, because I knew I had the Wienermobile, and I had a series of things. I drove out on Calle Ocho, way out on 8th Street, way out west, to this used car. There's a used car lot out there. There was. It's, all these cars sitting in the sun, and I pull in the Wienermobile, and this guy comes out of this concrete block office, and he comes up to me looking, and he's got a tie on and everything. And I lean out the window and go, I'm looking to trade this in on a smaller Wienermobile. and he goes, such is the training this man had, he goes, without cracking a smile, he goes, let me talk to my manager.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's even better.
As if somewhere. Anyway, so
Hey,
if you ever get the Wienermobile, have a list. Have a list.
Yeah. I was when I was kind of looking up, I started looking up some stuff, and I watched the movie Big Trouble. That was from a book you wrote, and someone they adapted it to a film. I tell you what, the stars in that movie, the people in that movie, Tim Allen, Sofia Vergara, Rene Russo, Stanley Tucci, one of my favorite actors of all times, Dennis Farina, Omar Epps, Heavy D, Jenny Garoppolo. I mean, my God, everybody was in that thing, and it was all in Miami.
It was so crazy because, like, when you write books, like the dream is they'll make a movie, but they never do. That's kind of the joke in the writer's world. You know that sometimes they option it, but it never actually gets made into a movie. So my first novel that I wrote, Big Trouble, it gets optioned and then it gets made into a movie. And it's not just a movie; it's a movie with like $150 million budget, shot in Miami with all those stars, as you said. And so it was like this dream. It was this weird, like we're hanging around, Michelle and I, with all these people. Yeah, they'd let us, come to the set. And it was an incredible experience. The problem was one other thing. I got to spend an afternoon in a taxi with Sofia Vergara.
Oh.
There you go. Back when who's this guy? Remember Todd Tongan?
Yes,
the TV guy.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
He used to do Todd's Taxi. Yeah. So he did Taxi with me and Sofia Vergara, and nobody knew who she was back then. And I remember coming home and telling Michelle, "This woman, she's going to go far." Anyway. It was this huge deal. The problem was the plot of the book ends at Miami International Airport where they get on these lunatics get on a plane with a nuclear bomb. And it blows up, but only a bad guy gets killed and everything. So it's a happy ending, but it's a bomb on a plane. The movie was supposed to come out September 11th, 2000.
Oh, wow.
So we wake up that morning and I get a call. I mean, like we're looking at 9/11 is happening and we get a call and it's like, the movie's not coming out. So it did come out like 6 months later, but with a much smaller rollout just because of all the feeling around the country. And it just did okay. Then it ended up being sort of a cult hit. People still talk about it, but, it was a really interesting experience. I'm like, that was my movie.
Wow, I got to tell you that I watched the scene that when Dennis Farina was on that payphone that was about 3 feet off the ground, he's bending down on the payphone, and two bad guys come up, and he just reaches in his ankle and pulls out a gun. Doesn't, hey, you guys get away, and then they just turn around and stab him. But just him bending down on that payphone, which these kids now don't even know what a payphone is.
Yeah,
but that was just that was golden.
Crazy.
I went to Russia about 10 years ago for the State Department has this program where they send authors over to Russia. And I went around Russia, and did a bunch of talks. And at every talk I would ask them, the audience, what is it you think that Americans think about you that's not true? And they all said, you think we're all drunk all the time on vodka and you think we're all gangsters. And then at the end of this trip, the state is, I was in St. Petersburg, and the State Department had arranged for a showing of my movie at the Russian consulate there, because they show an American movie once a week to audiences there. And they said, well, we'll show your movie there. And so, I know I'm going to get up in front of like 200 Russians and talk about my movie. And it was only then I realized, like, I'm going to talk to a group of Russians. For the last 2 weeks, all I've been hearing is they don't like the idea that we think they're all gangsters. And I've kind of forgotten my movie, to be honest. And I'm going over it, and I realized that there are Russians in the movie, and they're gangsters. It's like, so I have to get up in front of this crowd of Russians and say, well, there are Russians in the movie, and they're gangsters. And everybody was kind of annoyed. I said, but they're smarter than the American gangsters, if that makes you guys feel any better.
Hey, Dave, so you've written comedy a lot for comedians and had great success with it. How hard is that to come up with stuff where they're not going, Dave, not funny. Oh, that works. What's that like?
Well, I only really did it twice, but it was both for Steve Martin, who's a friend of mine, I'll be honest. not to drop a name, but and Steve
Good one to
hosted the
drop.
Oscars.
Yeah.
He hosted the Oscars the first time he asked me, 2003. He hosted the Oscars, and I got this email from him. I'm in the office where I got it, and Michelle sits where she is right now, sits across from me. And the email said, Dave, I'm hosting the Oscars this year. Do you want to be on the writing crew? No, fuck you, Steve Martin. Then he goes, but seriously, we'll fly you out. You Michelle can come out, and it'll be great. And so Michelle comes over and reads this over my shoulders, and before I can even answer, she types yes and sends it back because she really wanted to. And before I ever thought of a single joke, she had already bought shoes for the Oscars, and not cheap shoes either. But anyway, the thing is, I had never done this where I was writing for somebody else. I always write, my thing. It appears with my name, and it's in writing for them. I don't usually, it's not speaking. And here I am, so I go out there, and it's Steve Martin, first of all, and it's in his house that we meet, the writers meet. This is a gorgeous house in Beverly Hills with all this art. It's incredible. And he has assembled these guys, just the cream of the comedy writing. He can get anybody he wants, and these guys are pro. And one of them was a woman, Beth Armangina, but they're pros. They've all done this for years and years, and I've never done it where I'm writing for somebody else. And in my mind, the way I thought it was going to work is you have to come in with a joke, and it's got to be just hilarious and perfect. And you're going to say the joke, and they'll laugh, and then your joke will get into the Oscars. And that isn't at all how it works. It's much more of a joint effort, and it's much more supportive than that. Somebody will say, could we do this, something about this? And it'll say, and then people will say, well, maybe we could. And then somebody else will say, well, what if we try this? And we'll try this. And then let's try this. And it would keep going around, and we'd change it. And then finally it would get to pretty good. And Steve Martin would get up and do it the way he would do it. This gift he has, and then it would be that's pretty good, and we'll do it. And by the end of this process, it's a completely different joke from when it started, and you can't really remember who contributed. I mean, there were times when you just said something and everybody laughed, and that became part of the monologue. But for the most part, it was much more collaborative. And what got me about it was how supportive everybody was. They didn't say that's a stupid idea, that sucks, which it would be my instinct with my brain. They were like, no, it's and they have an expression out there in comedy land called, he's good in the room. Somebody's good in the room, the comedy room. And you might be a person who never actually once tells a joke, but you'll still be considered good in the room if you can encourage it or spot one that is working one. And there was one guy there, and I'm losing because I'm 112 years old.
We get it.
But the whole thing was he had been to so many Oscars over the years, and it's people would come up with a joke because ahead of time they keep telling you so and so will be there, so and so, which actors will be there, and then when you get close to the show, you even know where exactly they're going to sit. In fact, for the rehearsals, they have pictures of it's Bruce, my wife is my wife is I also,
way to go, Michelle. Good job, Michelle.
Right, we could take a look at have Michelle come in and say hello.
Have Michelle come over here.
Michelle, they want you to come and at least show your face. She serves my memory.
I would call her the great Michelle Kaufman.
She
is.
Hi, Michelle.
She wants to get on her good side.
I'm just a little younger than Dave, so I still remember things.
You can remember.
I remember everything. When we go to parties, we'll have a whole conversation with someone, and they'll walk away, and then Dave will go, "Who was that? How do we know that person?"
I'm guilty.
I'm right in that crowd.
But Dave, that's your brother.
Hey, Michelle, it's good seeing you, girl.
Nice seeing you.
They're saying good to see him. Anyway, Bruce Valanche.
So Dave, you're 76 right now. You started writing at a young age. You wrote to the people then. Now this generation, do you have to change your writing style to follow through the generations as you've gotten older, and so you can be relevant a bigger part of the audience?
I don't try to. I can't, and I think I would feel like a fake if I did. I think I still have enough of an audience just because older people read, and every now and then I'll meet some young person who's a fan, but I'm not going to try to pretend that I'm young because I'm not young.
Yeah.
I'm just not. But anyway, but I was going to say about Bruce Valanche. That's what I was. What was he's written for every Oscars forever, or had when I was writing for him with Steve, and somebody would come up with a really good joke about somebody who was going to be in the audience, but it would be vicious. I mean, funny as hell, but vicious, but funny. And I'm thinking like, that's great. And then everybody would go around and say, yeah, that's good. That's good. And then Bruce would go, okay, you can tell that joke. And he's going to be sitting right there in the front and the camera's going to go to him. And you can imagine the look he's going to have on. He said, do you want that? Is that and you realize, nah, that isn't really what we want in the show. So it's like good to have somebody like that. Anyway, just finishing the anecdote. Never mind. Go ahead. As you were, gentlemen, whatever it was.
Hey Dave, I got to ask you this. We've all watched so many changes in Dade and Broward County, especially for you. You've seen it all and written about it and had fun with it. What's been the biggest change you've seen now that we're into 2024 and where we were?
Well, for two things. First of all, Miami has gotten much tamer. You guys were here when it was wild.
I was living it. Wide awake, Dave. Wide awake.
Yeah, a lot of late nights, Dave, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I yes, I do know what you mean. And it's just so much calmer now. Like, my joke is when I talk to audiences, like, Miami used to be crazy, violent, a lot of shootings. Like, we have a new tourism promotion slogan: "Come back to Miami. We weren't shooting at you."
Yeah.
Anyway, but the other big change is, like, I don't know about where you live, but where we live in Coral Gables, it is now half New Yorkers. Yeah. It's like, we need to close the border, and I'm not talking about the border with Mexico, the border with Georgia. That's how they're getting in. We need to shut the border, because you can't. If you leave your house for more than 3 hours, the chances are by the time you get back, a New Yorker will have bought it. It's gotten crazy. So that's the other big change. We are like now this incredibly desirable. Remember when back in the day, it was like everybody's, can Miami survive? Is like, and we were like jealous of Orlando, like, because Orlando had Disney World and we're dangerous and everything. And now it's like everybody wants to be here, and like they keep saying that we're going to be underwater in 5 years, but it doesn't seem to be stopping them. People.
No, people are still buying on the water. You're right, like crazy.
Dave, tell us about Federal Duck. You're right. How do you transition from writing and all that? I see the guitar behind you there. Tell us a little bit about that experience with you.
Okay, I was in college. I was in a rock band called the Federal Duck, and the reason it was called the Federal Duck is this is the '60s now, and there was a duck pond where I went to college, Haverford College, which I have a T-shirt, by the way, from Haverford College. It says Haverford College, undefeated in football since 1972, which is true because that's when we stopped playing football, because they never beat anybody except Swarthmore. That was our big rival. So that's how bad we were at football. Anyway, so there's the duck pond at Haverford College, and we used to go down to the duck pond and just smoke weed. That's what we did. And one night we're there, and these ducks start coming out of the pond, marching straight toward. And somebody in our group decided that these ducks were working for the federal government. And if you don't understand why that would happen, is because you were not there in the '60s. But anyway, so that's how we became the Federal Duck. But anyway, so I was in a band in college, and that's how I worked my way through college. We played every weekend. I played a million frat parties and whatever, mixers all over Philadelphia. And then after I left college, I went into writing and everything. And then in the early '90s, I got back into a band called the Rock Bottom Remainders, because I'd never really gotten it out of my system that I like to play. The Remainders are a band of authors, and among the authors in the band were Stephen King, Amy Tan, Ridley Pearson, Mitch Albom, Scott Turow, Matt Groening, the guy who does The Simpsons. Wow. I mean, like, these are all-star authors. we're not a good band. Our genre, we call it hard listening music. But we played for many years, mostly fundraisers for literacy causes. But because the band had like these big names in it, real musicians would come and join us. And like one night, this is true. One night we're playing a show for booksellers in Los Angeles, and the last song we did, Bruce Springsteen got on the stage with us, and the thing was, the only song we had left in our repertoire. We don't have a big repertoire because we're not that good. We played Gloria, the song Gloria, the old garage rocker, and I had to ask Bruce. And this is not a difficult song. It's basically if you take a guitar and throw it on the ground, it will play Gloria. Okay. But I had to ask Bruce Springsteen. Bruce, do you know Gloria? Because I think I can handle it.
I can wing it.
So we play Gloria, and the thing about that song is I sing lead on that. So I sing Gloria, and then everybody else goes Gloria. And Bruce Springsteen. My point, gentlemen, is Bruce Springsteen sang backup to me. That is how many people can say that, right?
Is that better than the Pulitzer Prizes that you won?
Way better than that. Way better than nobody cares about Pulitzer Prize, but that, yeah. I handed Bruce my guitar. I immediately gave him my guitar when he came on stage, so he could play. So I could forever, at the end of time, say, "This is my guitar." It's not this one, but they're the one behind me. But there is a guitar in this house that was played by Bruce Springsteen.
Wow, Dave, it's incredible. You really have a name dropped. I thought you'd do a much better job of name dropping today. Because it's amazing all the people you've met though through all the things that you've been so good at.
Well, I don't know about good at, but I've been lucky. I've been in the right place. Like if you just hang around long enough. No. I mean, I think I was a good humor columnist, but it just was. It worked out that because I don't know. I got to meet enough, interesting people over the years. You guys do too. I don't know why I'm telling you about this. The nature of what you guys did and do. You meet people. You're in the media and you meet people. It's not that big a world. It's not that big a world. And do you find? I'm going to say I'm taking over your podcast now.
That's fine.
But do you not find Michelle and I talk about this all the time? Like the more famous people you meet, I mean, really famous people that you meet over the years, the more you realize that they're mostly just normal people, and the more you feel like it's people kind of overrate fame in our world sometimes. Like they're not.
I agree. As you get older, I totally agree with that. You start to see a different side of people. I think when you're younger, you think you're a little more important than you really are, and as you get older, you get humbled by children and people around you, and a wife, and some ex-wife or anything else. So
and especially in your business in sports, because you see it. Nobody worships people the way people worship athletes in this country. And you guys have both been professional athletes who've known a lot. So what it really is like. I'll never forget, I'm telling a story on Jimmy Cephalo, and I hope it's okay.
No, Jimmy, yeah.
But when the Marlins were in the World Series, I think the first time, I'm not sure, and Jimmy was working what you guys do now. He was in the media side of it. And we were standing outside the locker room waiting to go in. And we were talking about how like some athletes are so great to the media. I'm very sensitive to this because my wife is a sports writer and a woman, but and some athletes are just jerks. Yeah. And Jimmy was standing there with me, and I won't go into the specific name of the athlete, but there's some Marlins that were just not good guys. And Jimmy goes,
there was a lot of them.
And Jimmy goes, I just hope that when I played that I was never that big an asshole. I said, I'm sure you weren't, Jimmy, because it would be difficult to be that big an asshole. But what I'm saying is you guys know it, you see it, that we tend to put people on pedestals and they're not always worthy of it,
Dave, it's funny you say that because I'm thinking about it while you're saying it. And it seems to me, I'm more comfortable in that world than I am meeting just, the common day guy. you know, I'm a little more uncomfortable there. But if I'm around some celebrity people, at least like that we know, it's kind of a comfort zone for you because you're all in that same space, right?
Yeah, I hear that, and you don't like it when people are treating you like weirdly because of your. So it's easier if you're around other people who get it. You know, I see what you're saying.
Well, let me
You're
just
saying
finish
you're better than you know what you're saying, Kim, is you're better than everybody. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm not saying that.
Dave, I'll give you the.
I'm worse than most, believe me.
Hey, Dave, I'll give you the biggest dick move that really bothers me right now, and that is people that hated the media people that jump in our business. That really drives me. Like, really? The guy wouldn't sign autographs and had no time for anybody, and now it's a nice fat paycheck, and you're on the other side with this phoniness that's spreading.
And the thing is, everybody can see that. You know, that the people who, you know, they're suddenly trying to be nice guys on the media because they realize that's a better, you know, like if I want to keep working, I gotta suddenly be nice now. I can't just be a jerk. Yeah, it's nicer when they were nice before and nice after, you know.
Yeah. Hey, well, Dave, really appreciate your time, man.
Dave, you're the best, man.
It's been great. Yeah.
This has been fun, you guys.
I would say I've read a lot of your books, but I've listened to a lot of your books. I'm going on the Audible. I'm the Audible way. I drive around in my car with books on the Audible, so I listen to them on that.
Dave, it's a good-looking 76. You look good.
We all look good. We're three studs, and that's what.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Thanks for
Dave.
joining us. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you. All right.
My pleasure.
Joe, that was
Can't spend enough time with Dave.
God.
Dave is great.
You know, so many things he's done, and like really unique things that his life.
He doesn't brag. All the great people he's met, he's known, and all the things, the money he's made. He's as grounded as can be.
Yeah. We thank him for having. I hope you guys enjoyed him as much as we did, and I think you will. So thanks for joining us. Always appreciate having you. And let me remind you, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got a lot of people there, or you can follow us on your favorite podcast streaming platform. Just punch in, and we'll see you the next time.